RU Gymnastics at the rack for only the third time ever, and we're so happy to bring it to you this afternoon here on our Vision. Rutgers hosts 19th ranked Illinois in Big Ten dual meet action. Hello everybody, thank you for joining us alongside former Rutgers head coach Crystal Chalet-Norton. I'm Mark Sell. Great to have you with us, and a big opportunity this afternoon, Crystal, for Rutgers to cash in against a program that has had a lot of success over the years and is ranked 19th in the country.
Yes, and I think they've got their jitters out from last weekend, and they did a nice job. And I think the girls are going to be excited because, again, when you've only been in the rack 3 times, it's a great time to be in here. It's a great facility, and it just makes it more exciting to compete when you're here with, you know, a big crowd. And they should be really well. And
Coach Lou Levine said earlier this week that anytime you compete here at the rack, it makes the atmosphere, it makes the meet that much more special. Yes, it does, because, I mean, all my years we were at the Livingston except for the 2 Eagles championships, and the Livingston gym is very nice, but this is bigger, it's big time, and, and we're in the Big Ten, so we need to be big time in the Big Ten, and this is where these meets have to be. Rutgers in its 2nd year in the Big Ten Conference. As you know, this program and this school became official members on July 1st, 2014. Now let's send it down to Matt Level for the 3rd member of our broadcast team. Here's Casey Murphy.
Thanks, Mark. And the Scarlet Knights are extremely excited to be here today. During warm-ups earlier, they were just loudly cheering each other on consistently the whole time with a lot of positive energy, just helping each other out during warm-ups, getting really amped up for the meet today. And earlier on today, Coach Lou Levine said that there is a lot of optimistic energy heading into this meet today, a lot more than last week's meet up in Boston. And he thinks that they're going to be able to channel that energy onto the floor, being able to perform in front of their friends and family at the rack for the 3rd time, like you said, and it will really motivate them to do their absolute best out there. Thanks, Mark. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Casey. And Rutgers finished in 3rd place at the Little Boston Invitational last weekend behind George Washington and New Hampshire. And Coach Levine, after that meet, said that there were strong individual performances, such as April Baker on vault. You see her right here getting ready to do her warm-ups on that rotation. We'll get into that in a little bit more. But he also said that the biggest takeaway is that we're not far away, and we have the capabilities to go out and perform, which is something that they're obviously looking to do here this afternoon. Yes, they are, and I think, as you said, this is their 2nd year going against Big Ten schools, so the newness is over, and now they know that they can be just as good as all the other teams in the Big Ten. So now they just have to bring it. And what do you think that Coach Levine and these gymnasts and his staff, what do you think they learned about Big Ten competition last year as they start a new campaign today? Well, you're competing. The Big Ten is one of the better teams on conferences. You got your SECs, you've got your ACCs, but the Big Ten is the conference. So with competing in that really gives you the experience that you needed, and I think that's what's going to help them. So the first rotation of warm-ups is almost finished right here. There's a clock on one of the smaller video boards here in the Rutgers Athletic Center that counts down from 5 minutes, so we're at 30 seconds right now. And this guy, Lou Levine, as we said earlier, getting his team ready for the Fighting Illini this afternoon. Rutgers as the home team in this meet. They have the decision on which rotation they would like to go in, so typically what happens is that the home team for one of these meets typically goes vault, bars, beam, and floor. So that's the rotation that Rutgers will start out on. And since today is a dual meet, what's going to happen is Rutgers will start on the vault, while Illinois will start on uneven bars. And then after that, about halfway through, what will happen is that Rutgers will swap with Illinois. So Rutgers on bars, Illinois on vault. And then about halfway through, Rutgers starts on beam, while Illinois is on floor, and then both teams will flip-flop there, and then that will continue the meet this afternoon here at the rack. Rutgers at 0-2 on the season, as we said earlier, finished in 3rd place behind George Washington and New Hampshire last weekend. Illinois lost its opening meet at Missouri this past weekend. The Mizzou Tigers, number 14th in the country, lost that by .275 points. So Charlie Santagato, all set to go here. She'll be competing in all 4 events today. As you see, she will be looking for a very good all-around score today. Santagato signals. And we are underway here at the rack.
Okay, as I told you before, she did a layout full, and that ball has been devalued to a 995 for the Coaches Association because they felt that they needed some more parity, so they brought it down a half a tenth so that the judges have more room to score it. All right, and so in her case, she had a little hop, so that's going to affect the score. And again, there are 10-0s in vaulting, but they just took this one down because the majority of the college gymnasts do this vault.
That'll bring up Libby Groden here, the sophomore from Abbottstown, Pennsylvania. Was a regional qualifier last year in the all-around department, and was really one of the freshmen that burst onto the scene for Rutgers last year. And we saw some parallels between her and Luisa Leal, who graduated from Rutgers, but when Luisa was a freshman in 2012-2013, she burst onto the scene in the same way, really productive in a lot of different events.
Right, exactly. And Luisa, again, was made regionals her freshman year as well, and did a really great job for us, and was a strong all-arounder. And I think Libby's going to be the same. She's very calm. She's very sure of herself. She's a good competitor, and that's what you need when you're doing all-around in all 4 events.
And those qualities that you listed right there, do you see those qualities in Luisa as well as Libby right here?
Yes. Both of them have high-level competition, so therefore they're used to this pressure. Okay, they're used to going in front of crowds and doing well, so they're not like starstruck. And that was a very nice, good vault.
What do you think she did best right here?
She stuck the landing. She had a little hop, all right, but she opened up before she landed. Because you want to see the vault twist, and you want to be completely laid out when your body position when you land.
Mm-hmm. First score just came in. Charlie Santagato, a 9.65 on her first vault, which is very close to her career high of a 9.7. And as the scores get updated throughout the afternoon, we will absolutely pass them along to you watching at home right here. So the first freshman today for Rutgers, Rihanna Ali from Ann Arbor, Michigan. And she was one of the top performers for Rutgers this past weekend up in Boston. She had a 9.775 on the floor event, which led the Scarlet Knights in that department, and she'll get ready to vault right here.
And she's coming from Michigan, which is really a plus for him, because Michigan, she could have stayed home and gone to University of Michigan, but she did not. So that's a very good thing that we're getting some of the top athletes to come to our program, which is good.
She grew up in Big Ten country, and now she's taking the next step competing in the Big Ten here on the East Coast for Rutgers. Also last weekend in Boston, Ali had a 9.65 on the vault. Looking to improve on that right here.
That was a very nice vault, but she's going to get hit for the hop and a little bit of his direction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but again, it was a very dynamic vault.
And we see it again right here.
She really blocks, and as you can see, she completely finishes the twist. It's just that she has to, because she's so powerful, she has to learn to stick the landing. And the landing can be 1 to 2 tenths.
Her hand placement, as we saw in the replay there, was towards the right side of the mat right there. So how can that affect a gymnast if they decide they're going to leap from either one far side of the mat as opposed to the other side or to the middle?
It doesn't really matter as long as they're right in the middle. All right, and that's why they made the vaulting horse bigger, because of these vaults, because the old horse was too small and people were missing their hands. This way the gymnast has plenty of room to get their hands on and block, and it's much safer for the gymnast.
Second score just came in for Libby Groden 2 gymnasts ago on the vault, a 9.75 for Groden. Illinois currently competing on uneven bars right now, so we will update you with those scores as well as we go throughout the afternoon here.
Claire did a different vault, which is a pike front, which is a 9-9. Eventually, I'm sure Lou's going to have her try to twist it, which will give her a 10-0.
And a 9-9 is her career high as well.
It's nice to see different vaults, and that's why with the change in the vaulting things of the layout full, that's what the coaches are hoping for, that they'll see more diversity in the vaulting and kind of spruce it up or exciting it up a little bit more instead of seeing the same vault all the time.
So senior Nicolette Wilson right here is set to go on vault. We're waiting the scores right here for Claire Jones. We just saw Rihanna Ali for Rutgers go previously to Jones. Ali a 9.725 on vault right now. So far the two scores in for the Fighting Illini on uneven bars. 9.725, 9.575. And up right now over on the other side of the rack, Gianna O'Connor for the Fighting Illini, the senior out of Streamwood, Illinois, who was a national qualifier last year for Illinois. And very nicely done. She stuck her landing essentially perfectly on that one, Crystal.
Yes, and her skill is an E skill at the end of double A, which is very hard to do, and she had a nice height on that.
So now Nicolette Wilson, the senior from Toms River, New Jersey, her main event.
Again, very nicely done. Had a nice straight body position landing.
Her career high in this event was a 9.825, and that was last year at the 2015 Big Ten Championships. You think she came pretty close to that right there?
Yeah, the only little thing she had was the hop. And and again, when you have those, she's great block off the horse and great dynamics, then you're going to have those little things that, and you don't want your gymnast to hold back. You'd rather see it that way than hold back and then land short and then get even more deductions.
So now on uneven bars, the redshirt senior, Sunny Cato, who was a 2015 NCAA qualifier in this rotation last year as well.
They have very strong bars. Once again, that's a very difficult dismount. She had a little step on the landing, which is going to affect it.
So back over to vault. And April Baker will be the last competitor for Rutgers in this event. Baker had a stellar performance on this event in Boston, a 9.9, fifth best in the country coming in.
That was a beautiful vault. Okay, she had a little bit of a hop, but her body position was completely twisted, and she finished the twist above the vault, which is what a judge wants to see. You want to see it completed above, not land on the landing. Nice straight legs.
Baker, a 2016 Big Ten gymnast to watch. She was named to the watch list before this season. And a couple other scores coming in for Illinois right now. O'Connor, earlier a 9.825 on bars. And Cato, who you just previously saw, a 9.8. And now the third reigning NCAA qualifier for the Fighting Illini right now, Mary Jane Horth, going through this routine very beautifully.
Yes, very beautiful. She just had a little execution deduction on her low bar trying to get to her handstand and half turn, but the dismount was beautiful.
And Horth qualified for the NCAA Nationals as an all-arounder last year as well.
Exhibition on the Mars for Bridget Noda.
That was Michelle, and she's an exhibition, and usually like a coach, we like to do that so that we have a backup because in case someone gets injured, they're ready to go.
And we saw a lot last year at a couple times in this meet. You know, Rutgers gymnasts who compete in that exhibition level one year, you never know, the next year they could vault themselves, no pun intended, into into the rotation. We saw Mackenzie Shank last year on the beam here at this event at the rack, and you know, now she's in the lineup for this year.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's you want to get as much experience for your gymnasts as possible. So putting in an exhibition really does that. It puts them in front of the crowd, and it proves to the coach that you can perform too. So that if something during practice, it's one thing in the gym, but in front of the crowd and the judges is a whole another can of, as we say, worms.
So our first rotation here is complete. Rutgers just finished on the vault. And as the score stands right now, the total, Rutgers at a 48.800. Illinois just finished on bars, 48.625. And the individual results we will periodically show you on the screen throughout the afternoon. So as it stands right now, Rutgers at 48.8, and Illinois, as you see right here, 48.625. Second rotation coming up on our vision. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few minutes. One rotation down here at the Rutgers Athletic Center. Rutgers just finished on vault. Illinois just finished on bars, and Rutgers leads by a very slim margin, 48.800 on the vault. Illinois just finished on bars at 48.625. Let's send it down to Casey Murphy.
Thanks, Mark. You know, we just got to see recently ranked 5th in the nation April Baker on vault, where you said earlier that she scored her career high last week in Boston with a 9.9. And something that Coach Levine said earlier to me today is that, yes, it was a great performance, and he believes she's an all-around great gymnast, but she needs to continue to repeat those kinds of scores for her to, you know, continue to be ranked so high, to get anywhere in regionals with a good spot. And he wasn't surprised when she ranked 5th. He said that that's the kind of gymnast she is, that's the kind of work ethic she's put in preseason to score that so earlier on. Just sets higher expectations for her for the rest of the season. Thanks, Mark. Back to you.
Thank you, Casey. And we've seen Baker with success at vault, but even before she came to Rutgers. In 2012, she was a Region 6 Level 10 champion in the vault and the bars as well.
Yes, and when you're a champion in level 10, that's a very good, because those are the best of all the level 10 gymnasts in the country, so that's very outstanding for her.
And Baker, the junior from Andover, Massachusetts, basically went home last weekend at the Little Boston Invitational, and when she acquired that 9.9 score on vault, Rutgers overall had a team score of 48.75 on the vault. That was their best score of any event last weekend, and you can see they already surpassed that today. So far this season, even though we're a couple of meets in, the Scarlet Knights are getting off to good starts.
Yes, exactly, and their vaults are strong, so that's really good that they're start on vaulting, because sometimes vaulting is where you want to start, because you've got all the energy and you can get it out and relax. All right, that's why beam's 3rd, so you're calm.
And now the Scarlet Knights here will transition to uneven bars. Scheduled to compete in order here: Elizabeth Nand, Libby Groden, Michelle Amorisano, April Baker, Charlie Santagato, and redshirt senior Emma Hoffman. She has a very interesting story into how she started gymnastics, and we'll get into that a little bit later as soon as she comes up to compete right here. Nand, as she gets a pep talk from her coach Lou Levine right here. She finished with a 9.625 on bars in Boston last weekend. And she's about to go through her first rotation here at home for the first time in her career.
It's really important for your start-off gymnast to be strong, because that will lead the momentum for the rest of the team. Very nice half turn to a handstand, which is a D.
Very
skill.
good transitions from
Yes.
bar to bar so far.
Very smooth. And that's a unique dismount. It is a C. And again, it's a skill that you don't normally see. Usually the gymnast will do a double back or a full in or a double lay. But again, very nice start, very nice half turn to handstand, and then it's called a Chinese sit-up, which is a C, so she went D to C combination.
Libby Groden set to go next on the bars, as we still await the score for Nan. Groden earlier today, 9.75 on the vault. And Heather Foley for Illinois just finished with a 9.775 on her vault. Now second competitor up for Rutgers. And we talked about earlier about the potential and what Groden brings to the table as an all-around competitor. She was voted the 2015 Rutgers Most Valuable Gymnast.
Right. She had a little rough start there because she didn't get to the handstand. Right, so that's going to affect her. Besides the fall, she had a major extra swing on routine, plus missing her difficulty. But this is where she has to regroup and finish the routine strong.
What was your message to your gymnasts after they make a mistake early in their routine here?
I just tell them to leave it behind, finish it up. You still have 2 more events to go through, and you have 5 more, 5 scores, so you have 4 more gymnasts after you to bring it back. You can't dwell on it.
Groden spent 9 years at the Hanover Gymnastics Club, the sophomore from Abbottstown, Pennsylvania.
What she did is she repeated her release move, because you need to have a release move. You've got to catch the bar, otherwise she would have gotten missed in special requirement. So that's why she repeated that, which again, this makes the routine longer. And this is definitely uncharacteristic of her.
But she finished strong with the landing there.
Right, she had a very nice dismount.
So a little bit of a slow start to the season on this specific rotation for Groden.
Right.
And she scored under a 9 in Boston over the weekend, but still very strong in every other category.
Right.
And Mary Jane Horth just finished on the vault for Illinois, so the Fighting Illini halfway through that event. And we get to see Michelle Amorisano here for the first time today for Rutgers. Michelle here, a freshman from Whippany, New Jersey.
Yes, she's from North Stars, and that's a very strong club in our state, very high-level gymnastics, so she's used to a lot of pressure. She comes from a long line of elite-level gymnasts out of there, so she's used to the training and high competition.
And she did well on this event last weekend in Boston as well, finished with a 9-7.
Yes, Tony Gaiman, who is her club coach, is a very great technician when it comes to uneven bars. So those girls learn technique correctly, which is why they do so well.
So far, a bit of a delay here on the mat as the judges are looking to get everything settled at the scorer's table.
Yes, because there was so many different situations in Libby's routine that you have to get everything correct, so they have to make sure that they do not have to have the same start value. That does not have to be, but they do have to be in range from the scores, and since we cannot see the scores, they have to be in range. So the head judge has to make sure that they're within that range.
Can a little extra waiting time, like how can that affect a gymnast that's about ready to go, and then they realize that they're kind of in limbo a little bit?
Well, it does, and the trouble is we're alternating here, as you can see, so that even Illinois has to wait because we have to do the bar routine. But if you're well trained gymnast, you can handle this. I mean, it has happened in age groups, so they're used to doing this, and they just have to deal with it. And that's what makes a good gymnast.
And as you can see from our camera shots here, at each station and at each event, there are 2 judges. Each judge gives her score for that event and for that performance. Both scores, the average is taken from both of them, which produces the score that we relay to viewers here at home. So the final math being done on Groden, and then until that is completed, we will see a Morisano here for the first time.
Again, very clean, very nice form. Very good cast to handstands, which you need to be, otherwise the judge can deduct. And a very difficult dismount because she's landing forward, and if you're doing a back double lay, it's a backward landing, where the forward landing, you can't, it's a blind landing, so she did that very well.
And does this ending right here, does this open the eyes to the judges a little bit more?
Yes, because again, it's a different dismount. She had a little step there, but again, it's a different dismount than what they're used to seeing. And again, it is an E, which is the highest you can get.
Meanwhile, Aaron Buchanan, the junior from Haymarket, Virginia, just finished on the vault for Illinois. So far, the Illini very strong with their dismounts. We're not seeing a lot of movement in the feet.
Right.
And as soon as they take that tumble, they stick it.
Right, and that's going to make the difference between, meet like this, unless you have somewhere, you have to count a fall. It's the little things, sticking the landings, and that will come over the course of the season when the girls get more in the sync of the meet and competing. Because the first couple of meets are, they're a learning experience and what we need to do. And each venue is a learning experience. Like this is really an away event for us because we don't usually in here. But they're doing very well.
But it helps to have a little scarlet in the stands as well.
Yes.
Baker started the day with a 9.775 on vault earlier. And just like Groden, she'll gather herself right here to finish the routine.
Yes, now, as I said previously, now they will have to count a fall on this event. Ideally, you want to go 24 for 24 or 20 for 20. Now with missing her release move, she missed bonus as well as the skill itself, which will come off of her start value.
So 4 down for Rutgers and 2 competitors to go here on uneven bars. Charlie Santagato coming up and redshirt senior Emma Hoffman.
And that was a very nice dynamic vault from Illinois. They've got some strong vaulters. Again, they're just doing the layout suit full, but it's still very strong.
Yes, Gianna O'Connor just went for Illinois, and so far we'll await her score. But for Illinois on vault, the 2 gymnasts around two gymnasts at 9.775, and then 2 other gymnasts scored at over a 9.8.
Yes, like I said, they've always had strong vaulting, even when I was coaching. They're very strong. Again, a strong Big Ten school.
And we're seeing right now Illinois taking control of this meet so far as points go in this second rotation. So Santagato out of Celebration, Florida for Rutgers. Started the day with a 9.65 on vault. Santagato had a very unique experience. In the summer of 2013, she competed at the Maccabiah Games in Israel, and she won the gold medal on the bars and the silver medal on the floor routine.
Yes, and that gave her international experience, which makes her a very good competitor, used to the pressure.
And especially the experience of competing in a lot of different environments.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly what Louisa had as well. So international competition is very good for the girls. Very good pack salto, which is a D, toe shoot before it.
Had a very strong finish.
Yes, a very strong finish. They're struggling a little bit here on bars. They have the level routine that they need to compete in the Big Ten. Now they just have to, complete it. And that was a pack salto between the bars, which is a very difficult skill to perform.
So now the redshirt senior Emma Hoffman, who competed in the senior day meet here at the RAC last year. That was the last time Crystal and I brought you Rutgers Gymnastics on March 7th. And she was actually honored in the senior day ceremony because she was applying for grad school, and
yes, and she didn't really know exactly what she was going to do, and I'm glad she came back because she was injured her freshman year, and she was my last recruit that before I retired, to have come here. So it's nice that she got her, the year that she needed, which was good, because she's a very strong gymnast, again, from Rebound, which is another outstanding club in our area.
Hoffman had a devastating injury in her freshman year. She ruptured her Achilles, which was the 1 year that she was able to get back to still compete with Rutgers for this year.
Right, and it's sad because Achilles can come back, but it took a year for her to get completely back. Now they did not have a good set on bars, but what they need to do is shake it off and come back strong on beam. As I say, it's like four quarters in football.
And we're almost at halftime right now.
Right.
Illinois just finished its last routine over on the vault. So now we're officially halfway through. 2 rotations down each. Illinois has gone ahead by a few points. We will show you those official scores in a few minutes. But so far, we're halfway through as we now enter the exhibition routines. And as we mentioned earlier, this is sophomore Mackenzie Schenk for Rutgers out of Phoenix, Arizona. She competed in one event last weekend in Boston. She was on the beam and did very well, a 9.775 for the sophomore.
Well, this is where the exhibition routines are going for Lou to see how they perform for next week.
Nicely done.
Very nicely done. Very good double front. And again, that's blind landing, so it's difficult to land it. Very nice release move, very completed high above the bar, which the judge wants to see.
She stayed very composed throughout as well.
Exactly. Even though she had a lot of, roughness before her and the other routines.
Which gives way to Rihanna Ali.
Again, a nice routine, just a little rough on her dismount. She started with a hop into the handstand, which is very difficult to do, and then went to her release move. Right here is the hop. And you have to complete it, all right, in handstand to get credit.
But she still gathered herself very well on
yes.
that. So 2 rotations down and 2 more to go. Rutgers will now advance to the balance beam as Illinois will advance to the floor routine right after this when we come back. Rotation number 3 about to start. Rutgers trails Illinois by nearly 3 points. Illinois 97.625. Rutgers at 94.800. And right now let's send it down to the third member of our crew, Casey Murphy.
Thanks, Mark. Although the Scarlet Knights just struggled on the uneven bars a little bit, they're heading on to the beam next. And Coach Levine says that has been their strongest event so far. He says they have a very good event squad with a lot of high potential scorers on beam. And over there right now is assistant coach Daniel Delia, coaching the girls, preparing them, calming them down for the last event to get right back in this against Illinois. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Casey. And scheduled for Rutgers on beam, Elizabeth Nand, Claudia Salinas. This is Salinas' main event. Libby Groden, Ariel Santagato, the younger sister of Charlie Santagato. Mackenzie Shank, who we just previously saw an exhibition over on uneven bars, and April Baker. So just like you were talking about earlier, Crystal, with Illinois' strength being on vaults, as they've notoriously been, I think Rutgers knew coming in that at this rotation and at this point in the meet when both teams swapped at the time they were on bars and at the time they were on vault, it was going to be a challenge. And we saw the strengths of Illinois, and we saw, some mistakes on the part of Rutgers.
Right, but they do have the routines. It's like whether or not nerves got to them or, who knows, but they'll just have to go back into the gym and forget about it. You just got to go back and say, okay, the meet's done, and the same here. They've got to go on to beam, and they do have a very strong beam lineup. And they can walk away with a 49 or a high 48 on beam, and that will bring them closer and back into it.
So as you can see on that countdown clock there on your monitor, we're just literally seconds away from starting rotation number 3. The Illini will start on the floor, Rutgers over on the beam, and then, as we said in the beginning of the meet, since this is a dual match meaning only 2 schools are competing against each other, after this rotation is done, both schools will swap their positions, so Rutgers will finish up on the floor, Illinois over on the balance beam. So we mentioned earlier at the top of the broadcast, Illinois ranked 19th in the country, and a program that's finished second at the Big Ten Championship last year, in which they set the school record for an overall score. They notched a 197.35, which is obviously the next step that the Rutgers program is certainly aiming for. We saw 2 years ago at the Livingston Rec Center, the other arena here on campus in which Rutgers has their meets, Rutgers set the school record, scoring over a 196 for the first time.
Yes, and like I said, he's getting the student athletes that want to come to Rutgers now and perform here. And some of the big names say, well, I'm going to go to a program that's building in the Big Ten, which is nice to see. And it's similar to what happened when I took over. Gymnasts came because they wanted to be part of the building process and knew they'd get a lot of competition and, being in front of people, as we're going to a Big Ten school and maybe possibly only seeing 1 or 2 events.
And you know what one of the biggest, let me rephrase that, Chris, I just wanted to say, one of the biggest examples to show you how Rutgers is improving with this program, and, not only talking about the 196 2 years ago at the Rec Center, but in the last 2 years, if you include that score, 2014, 2015, Rutgers has notched 8 overall scores that have ranked in the top 10 overall scores in school history.
Yes.
Just in the past 2 years alone.
Right, and that's really good because I remember when I started, we were lucky if we got a 180, So it's really come a long way. And again, the athletes, are coming, want to be part of this program, which is, very nice that he can recruit just as well with the Big Ten, schools as well. So, and that's just going to bring more potential and higher level gymnasts and routines to this program.
It does, and it serves as a big compliment to you as well because you got this started for Rutgers.
Thank you.
Coach Levine was under your staff
right.
for a few years. Now he's taken the reins, and the program is moving forward.
Yes.
And so is Nand. Yeah,
that was an outstanding routine. Very strong. That's what they needed. Okay, she's very calm. She was no bobbles. It was a, solid routine. And she was very aggressive. She didn't hold back, and that's what a judges like to see.
So far, the loudest that we have heard this crowd and this Rutgers team this afternoon. Much needed performance here on beam for Rutgers.
And beam, you need to have 2 deep passes, and so she does. Okay, and that's the full turn, and that's usually the one skill that really will hinder a gymnast, the full turn. And it's a requirement, so they have to do it. Again, very nice combination.
she stayed very composed as well.
Yes, I mean, she should be getting a very good score on this.
Meanwhile, over on floor, Haley Rowe, the freshman from Mesquite, Texas, going through her first routine right here.
Up next on the balance beam for Rutgers, Claudia Salinas.
This event for Salinas has been very constant in her gymnastics career. When she went to Northern Highlands Regional High School, and she's a senior from Allendale, New Jersey, as you just saw. She won the New Jersey State title in the balance beam. And not only on this event, but she had success in other sports as well. She was also an all-region selection in the pole vault.
Yes, and you will find that gymnasts are very good in that because they are able to, flip, and that's why there's more gymnasts getting scholarships in pole vaulting because of that if they don't get a scholarship in gymnastics. And yes, Claudia came from a very strong club, and she was beautiful on beam and age group as well. And again, her beam coach from ENA produces outstanding beam girls.
And it worked out really well in her career here at Rutgers because as a freshman, she was an NCAA regional qualifier in this event.
And she has a really nice dismount. She does a side aerial
Just
D
like
and
that.
3. So again, that's very difficult to do, to take a flight element and then connect it to the dismount. So
sorry, go ahead.
no, that should be another very big score.
And she scored a 9.825 on this event in Boston over the weekend. I'm sure we can expect the same results here.
Right. She had a little
hop.
step hop, again, then that can be something where a judge can take a half a tenth.
Back over to the floor and Heather Foley. The senior from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, Krista, what we saw earlier on the mat over here is there was a puffy blue mat located in one of the corners of the floor. Right now, what we see is a more thinner, kind of foamy mat in one of the corners. So, is that a decision by the gymnast? Is that a decision by the coach in terms of which corner and what type of mat to put in the corner?
It's usually determined by the gymnast, and the one that's on the mat now is called a sting mat, and the one that was in before was a 4-inch mat. And they can have a mat on each. They can have a mat on each corner. They just can't have. You can't land on one mat and then, land and punch and go to another mat. So you can only land on one mat.
So now back to the beam, and Groden looking to improve on her previous performance on uneven bars. And we mentioned earlier, Groden was an NCAA regional qualifier last year in the all-around. All-around meaning you compete in all 4 events throughout the season.
And she's very beautiful on beam. She has very nice lines and very aggressive. And again, she's, this is where she can bring it back.
so far very strong for her.
Yes, and that's a D. She had a little pause on it, but I don't think she really needed to jump out of it. Sometimes the gymnast will do a front tuck into another element, which will give them bonus. So they can get their 10-0 start value. As we've talked about last year, they start from a 9-5 and then have to add their bonus to get the 10-0.
Right.
Very nice routine.
She had a 9.65 in this last week, but I got a feeling we'll be seeing a better performance out of that in the scoring category.
It should be. She had a little hop on the dismount, which could be a 10th.
But another solid start for Rutgers.
Yes.
On this event. Nans had a 9.775 earlier. Salinas, who you just saw previously before Groden right here, and we saw that little hop at the end
right
in her dismount. Salinas with a 9.7 flat. And this is Mary Jane Horth right here, the junior from Akron, Ohio. Horth is one of 3 returning gymnasts for Illinois, who was an NCAA national qualifier this past year.
And that really helps the program because they get to the big dance, so they're able to know. And we have had Alexis Gutzman go as an all-arounder. We had Courtney.
Back in 2014.
Yeah, we had Courtney Turner on floor, so it's really nice. And I think Lou can have more gymnasts in that category as well. And again, once you get to the big dance, you help.
Well, we mentioned Luisa Leal earlier for Rutgers, who graduated this past year. But if you look at this current mold of this gymnastics roster right now, as we see the score coming in now for Groden, we see that Gunzelman and Leal as leaders. They led by example, and they really helped a lot of these younger gymnasts mold into, the athletes and the gymnasts that they are right now, such as April Baker and soon-to-be Ariel Santagato down the line.
Right, exactly. And Emma Hoffman is the rock here as well now, which is good, and I'm glad she came back for her 5th year for that particular reason.
And just to finish up the thought on Illinois real quick, we mentioned Horth, Cato, and O'Connor, who are the reigning All-America selections from Illinois. In each year of head coach Kim Landris' tenure, and she's in her 5th year right now, she's had a gymnast advance to nationals every single year, and Illinois currently has a streak of 8 straight years of sending at least one gymnast beyond the regionals level.
Right. And she's a very good coach. She's an up-and-coming coach, it's nice to see. All right, so because some of the older coaches are retiring, and you're seeing some new ones, like Greg Marston retired, but his wife's taking over, and so it's nice to see, the teams that do have retired coaches, that they still stay in the same level that they're at.
Ariel last week in Boston, she started her career off with just under a 9.3 score here on beam.
And she had a little trouble on her double turn, which is a very hard turn to do on the beam. But she...
That's a good turn right there.
Yeah. She was able to stay on, but she grabs the beam, so they're going to probably take a fall for that because she had to hold on to the beam to stay on.
And if you can picture this, we mentioned earlier that Ariel right here is the younger sister of Charlie Santagato on Rutgers.
Yes.
Ariel is listed 2 inches taller than her older sister. How does that work?
I don't know. It's cute, and it's nice to see sisters, on the same team, because then they can, keep each other up.
Sunny Cato now over here on floor for Illinois. She's a reigning first-team All-Big Ten selection last year. And when Illinois advanced to the NCAA regionals held in Morgantown, West Virginia, she was the bars champion.
She has very good form on floor. very solid tumbling, was landing it without any, that's what they want to see is stuck landings.
And Cato's shown a lot of consistency over her career here in Illinois. And last year, she competed in basically every single meet on bars and beam. She hit on 26 of 27 events as she now advances her expertise over to the floor.
Well, she's very strong, and she's a very elegant gymnast.
She hails from Chino Hills, California, which on a somewhat unrelated note, Chino Hills is, as we know this past week, if we were paying attention to the Powerball drawings, that was the town where the first reported lottery ticket winner was from.
Yes.
I'm not a big lottery player. I don't know about you.
No, I'm not. If I play it, guaranteed those numbers won't come up.
Hey, but as the saying goes around here, you never know, right?
Correct, you never know.
Rutgers overall in this meet against Illinois, second place.
That was a very unique skill. She did a front aerial into a scale, which is very hard to do. And now you don't see many gymnasts do that. Again, she has very nice lines. If you notice, each of the girls make the sign of the knight, their sword sign, and they have it in each of their routines. Very nice dismount. No deductions for there. Stuck landing very well.
Not bad for a first career official performance on the beam.
Yes, and she did very well.
As we mentioned earlier, she performed on the beam in the exhibition round here at the rack last year.
And like I said, that's how, as a coach, you want to see how she does, and that's how you put them into the lineup because you know they can do it.
An interesting note here about Erin Buchanan. Comes from a very athletic family. Her grandfather's name was Norm Sneed. Her grandfather, Norm Sneed, played quarterback at Wake Forest. Drafted by the Washington Redskins in the first round.
Oh, she's a sports girl.
Her grandfather had a very prolonged career in the NFL, 16 years, and he was a 4-time Pro Bowler.
Oh. Well, she's done 2 very hard tumbling passes with double tucks. Now she's finishing with a bonus combination. Just a slight step on the landing, but should still be scored very well.
Her career high on this event is a 9.925, in which she set that 2 years ago. And now April Baker to wrap everything up on beam for the Scarlet Knights.
And April is a very dynamic beam worker. Very aggressive.
And Baker looking to improve on her performance on this event from last weekend.
Well, she started off with a very nice flight series. Part of the requirement on beam is a flight series of a D on beam. Now she's just done another same element of the layout, but it is a D and into a dance combination.
Baker's freshman year got off to a slow start. She competed in the first 2 meets of the season, but then was hurt. But last year competed in 12 different meets. And now a regular into the Rutgers lineup every day.
Well, like I said, she's a very strong all-arounder, and that's what Lou needs. And she's your anchor, so she knows that she's going to perform for you.
And she did.
Yes, very nice routine. And that's what, as a coaching staff, you want to see. They came back. Yes, ours wasn't what it was supposed to be, but they came back and came on strong on beam. It's good to see Claire on beam. I think she's been out with an injury. Yeah, she's an exhibition.
And Jones also has a lot of experience, you know, putting up the points in the all-around category as well.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, Claire she won the bars, beam, and floor, as well as the all-around score back in 2012 at the Hilton Head Invitational. She's a junior from Gaffney, South Carolina. And on this event back 2 years ago when Rutgers was in the Eagle Conference before they advanced to the Big Ten, she was a second-team All-Beam member.
Yes, so I know Lou had said that there's a couple of girls that are coming back from injuries, little things. So I think what you're going to see is the lineup changing when you get these individuals back up. For example, like bars. I know he has some of the girls that are not in bars right now. So
but it's still early in the season.
Right, exactly. And, you know, still have like 10 more, 11 more meets, so.
And Rutgers with a couple of Big Ten meets coming up as well. The next time we'll see you here on Our Vision, February 6th of next month, Rutgers will host Ohio State as well as Yale. But in between then, Rutgers has 2 meets on the road. They'll be at Nebraska 1 week from today, and then 2 weeks from today at Michigan State, competing also against Towson and Pittsburgh.
Yes, like I said, Claire was one of his top beam workers, so it's going to be the beam lineup is a very strong lineup, so which is good because that means they push each other on. She had a triple series, which you don't see many gymnasts do, which gets her bonus. And plus, she had a very solid front tuck, which is a D. And this is an example of if you have an injury, you put them into the exhibition so that they get back to what they're used to and confidence back.
And Jones absolutely on her way as we see her performance again right here. All right, so 1 rotation left to go here today. Illinois is now going through the exhibitions on their floor routine. So as the score stands right now overall, Illinois ahead of Rutgers with a 146.550. And Rutgers right now at 143.725. Rotation number 4 coming up right after this here on Our Vision. Over to the final rotation today. Rutgers now advances to the floor, while Illinois now moves over to beam. And it's an event that Rutgers has had a lot of history with. Mainly the last time that Rutgers was on this event, last year in the senior day meet, the Scarlet Knights set the school record. Now we send it down to the mat level one more time, and Casey Murphy. Casey.
Thanks, Mark. And the Scarlet Knights did just come off of a very strong performances on the beams. It was smooth, they were good routines, and they were very, very put together. And they look awesome right now on the floor. They look super amped up, very positive, ready to go. Coach Lou is giving them a lot of encouraging words out there. I think no matter what, he wants them to finish strong today. And floor has historically been Rutgers' greatest strength in gymnastics. So I think that they have a chance right now to come back, and it's going to be very close, but they do have a chance. Thanks, Mark. Back to you.
Thanks, Casey, and you're right, because Rutgers needed a bounce-back performance on beam after mistakes were made on the uneven bars, and what a better place to finish up the meet today to get a really strong performance than on the floor, because as we just said, the last time that we were here, Crystal, and the last time Rutgers was in the rack on March 7th of last year on senior day, Rutgers won the meet, and they finished setting the school record on the floor with a 49.375.
Yes, and I think he has just a strong group back here again, even though Louisa has graduated, but he still has a strong core of floor workers. So I think we should be able to see close to that. And again, floor is a fun event, and you can let your energy go and enjoy.
And I remember very well from last year that when Rutgers got onto floor, the energy in this building, you could feel it all the way up here, because it was an emotional day. It was senior day for, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of people that meant a lot to this program over the years, and every single routine, every single beat to the music, Rutgers was on point. The crowd was into it, and Rutgers looking for that same energy to wrap up the meet here this afternoon.
Yeah.
Again, Rutgers in second place behind Illinois right now. The Illini ahead with a overall score of 146.550. Rutgers sits behind at 143.725. Again, I think one of the main reasons is that bars definitely set them back in a category where Illinois at the same time essentially dominated the vaults.
Right, and Illinois is having a pretty solid meet. I haven't seen a fall from them on anything. So that's another, if they're going to go 24 for 24, then that's your dream. And yes, on bars, Rutgers probably lost about 4 to 5 points just on that. So, which would put them back into the race with this. It's a very pretty illusion from the Illini on beam. Very difficult skill to do, and she did it beautifully.
And that was done well, because when she began her tumble off the beam, it looked like her foot wasn't entirely on the beam. It was like it was half on and half off, but Hoden was able to stick it very well. Santagato on the floor here had a score of 9.675 last week at the Little Boston Invitational.
Very nice first tumbling pass.
Yep, that's a good start.
The judges like to see attitude and showmanship, with Rutgers girls do very well at.
Santagato, a three-time national qualifier at the Orlando Metro Gymnastics Club. and she's a junior from Celebration, Florida.
That Metro, again, is a very good club in Florida, probably one of the best. And she just had 2 tumbling passes, and you don't have to have 3 as long as you land the last pass with the requirement that you needed.
And as we look back to Santagato's performance here, also due up for Rutgers on this event, Libby Groden, Emma Hoffman, Rihanna Ali, April Baker, and Katie Stiebik, who we'll see for the first time today. Floor is the main event that Stiebik performs in throughout the season.
What is nice is Lou has a lot of depth in his lineup, so once he gets everyone in there, he's going to have some strong routines on all 4 events.
And we just talked about Rutgers' improvement on the beam rotation. It's not every day you see a competitor with the caliber of Claire Jones competing in the exhibition level, right?
Yes, again, and that's usually how we've always done it. You have to earn your spot back in. That you just have to prove that you can compete and you're healthy and ready to go.
Santagato's score just came in. Santagato 9.775 on the floor. Well, we mentioned last year at the senior day meet, Crystal, where Rutgers set the school record for a team performance and a team overall score here on the floor. Every single competitor last year for Rutgers scored over a 9.8. So everybody was on point, and we see Santagato started out very well here.
Yes, that was a very good score, 9.775. So
and Groden had a good start to her season on this event last weekend in Boston. She was at a 9.725.
Oh, well, that's going to, she didn't fall, but it's going to probably take it 3/10s, if not 5/10s. Nice D tumbling pass at the end. It's called a Rudy.
What'd you think?
Well, she struggled in her middle pass, so she's going to be hit on that. She didn't, it depends on whether the judge considered it a fall or they gave it just a deep squat landing, which is up to 3/10s. All right, but all the other tumbling was fine. It was very nice. So, and her dance is beautiful. And she's always on toe, which is what the judges like to see.
So if you're just joining us, we're in the final rotation here on the floor. Rutgers on the floor while Illinois wraps up on the beam. Just the third ever meet here at the Rutgers Athletic Center for the Scarlet Knights. Throughout most of their history, they've competed at the Livingston Recreation Center, which is just down the road here from the rack. Alongside former Rutgers head coach Crystal Chalet-Norton, I'm Mark Sell. Thanks for joining us here on your Saturday afternoon.
Yes, and the alumni out there, the ones that competed in the barn, as it's called, so on College Ave. So we've been in 3 different places, which is, you can show how it evolved.
And also for the first time ever, there will be 2 gymnastics meets here at the RAC this year. The one we're obviously having today, and then February 6th, when Ohio State and Yale.
And as we talked before, if you're in the Big Ten, these are the arenas that you need to compete in, because all the other arenas, that's where you see, They're all in their big arenas, so that's where we have to be.
If I were to say gymnastics is Emma Hoffman's life, I mean, that would be an understatement, because she's, as you very well know, Hoffman's been competing in this sport since she was 3 years old.
Yes, and her sister went to Alabama, so it's been the family. She was homeschooled at Rebound. So, and again, yes, this has been her. So it's really great to see her back doing floor, which she loves.
And Hoffman said a couple of weeks ago that her routine, again, no pun intended, but her schedule competing in gymnastics when she was young, she would compete in the morning for 4 hours. And since she was homeschooled, there was a schooling program with her club team and her club arena. So she would compete in the morning for 4 hours. Then she would focus on school for 3.5 hours. Then another 4 hours of gymnastics. So she wouldn't get home until 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. And then by that time it was all schoolwork, and then rise and shine in the morning and back to the gym.
You'll find with a lot of these top gymnasts, that's what they do. They do homeschool them. And, we have 2 of the junior elite national kids from a gym MG in the state, and those are both homeschooled, and those 2 girls will be up for Olympics, which is, it's nice for New Jersey because we have a lot of strong gymnasts in the state. And Lou is keeping them here, which is good.
We mentioned her sister just a minute ago, Kayla, who was an All-American in Alabama. Her sister was also awarded the SEC Gymnast of the Year award. Was also a 2-time member of the U.S. gymnastics team. Not to mention her mother is also a club coach as well.
Right. So, yes, so they're definitely a gymnastic family. And she's, she's a very good role model, Emma is, and she sets by example. She's a hard worker in the gym. Very positive, which is nice.
And what a better example of that, Crystal, because last year she was awarded the Crystal Chalet Norton Award.
Yes, and that's, that was really nice. And he started that, and which is, a real honor, and I'm very pleased that he did. And the gymnasts that he has presented to it, like the first one was Lexi Belvis, and that she definitely deserved it. Always positive, always up no matter what, which was, nice.
And serves as a huge role model for everybody as well.
Yes. And you can see how Emma loves floor. Show off.
Hoffman's career high on this event is a 9.9, and this past weekend at the Little Boston Invitational, she notched a 9.725. I mean, I didn't really see much from her performance here that would take away from a really solid score.
Yeah, there seems to be there is a different from the start values, and the judge can change that, so you can come over and tell that she felt. And Emma only does 2 tumbling passes, so her second pass has all of her bonus in. So you really have to, if you miss that, and plus she has a dance combination series that, that can be missed.
A smile from head coach Lou Levine right here, giving one last bit of advice to the freshman, Rhea Ali. Last time we saw Rhea here was in the beginning of the meet. She was the 3rd competitor for Rutgers on the vault. Had a very good score, a 9.725.
You'll find that if the gymnast is strong on vaulting, she's going to be an outstanding floor tumbler as well.
And the main reason for that are their passes, right?
Yes. Now that was a very difficult. She had a front tuck into around a double pike. She did take some steps, so she's going to get hit for that. Anywhere from 1 to 2/10 on the steps, possibly 3. The second pass was a combination pass, which got our bonus. And again, she's ended with a solid D, which is what you want to do. If not, you need to do a bonus combination of some sort.
And a dab at the end. How about that?
She had very good tumbling, and she just has to learn to stick the landings a little bit more.
Are the judges typically a little more sympathetic in the fact that when you go through your first tumble, right as you try to stick the landing, obviously your momentum is going in one direction, so it's not going to be a perfect stick?
Yeah, but
is it just a matter of the distance between as soon as your foot first hits and where it finishes? Is that the difference?
Exactly. And if you have to take 2 or 3 steps back, that's going to differentiate you from another gymnast. And that's what they have to do, because most of your college gymnasts are all performing the same skills, the same, technique. So what's going to make the difference between each of them is the execution. And to be fair, the judges have to take the execution errors, because otherwise you're going to, you've got a gymnast who does perfect execution, and then if she gets the same score as someone who doesn't, it's not fair to that. So they have to take it.
Ali was just awarded a 9.6 on the floor.
Okay.
And previously before her, we saw Emma Hoffman. She got a 9.825.
Right. She has a very nice routine. And again, Allie has a very nice routine. She has to control the landings, because that's where her deductions came from. Very nice controlled landing.
And that was a good landing right there.
Yes.
Yep.
So you can see the difference in what, that the judge needs to take it, so that the scoring can be consistent throughout the country. Got a nice clean landing. She did something to her.
It was definitely a little bit of an awkward finish. The trainers right now in the bottom corner of the mat, talking with Baker as well as head coach Lou Levine. Back over to the beam and Sunny Cato.
And yes, though, they're doing very well on being very, very strong beam team.
What also helps out Illinois this year, as well as going forward, they're a very balanced team. The Illini have 3 seniors, 3 juniors, 3 sophomores, and 5 freshmen.
Yes, they do, and again, they're very consistent, as you can see.
April Baker's now being helped off of the floor right now. So she'll be looked at in the locker room. And the last performer on the floor for Rutgers today, the senior Katie Stiebik. This will be our first look at her this afternoon. Stiebik had a 9.75 performance here on the floor last weekend in the meet in Boston against George Washington in New Hampshire. A 2-time Eastern National qualifier.
She had a little fall on the first pass, so that's going to affect her bonus and her start value. And her last tumbling pass is a round-up double back, which you don't see many gymnasts do that. They usually have a back handspring in it, so it's a little bit difficult to do.
And not only floor has Stiebik had a lot of success with. Back in 2008, she was the Pennsylvania State champion in the bars exercise her time at Fort LaBeouf High School.
Yes, she's a very, I can see that she's possibly one that he will put into the lineup later on. Like I said, I think he has enough depth that he can do that. And again, like we said, it's a long season, so the main thing is to keep everybody healthy. And that's like in any sport.
So before the exhibition round begins on the floor for Rutgers, the overall team score 47-875 on the floor. Illinois already into their exhibitions on the beam, and their final team score on the beam 48-950.
And Rutgers' score of a 191 is not typical of what they're capable of doing. Like I said, they struggled on bars, and they can have struggled on a few floor routines. So I think they can be a 195, 196 team.
We see Michelle Amorisano in exhibition play right here for the second time today.
That was a very nice high double pike, but she just pulled it in too much, causing her to over-rotate.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for
Well, we can
Back at the Rutgers Athletic Center alongside former Rutgers head coach Crystal Chalet-Norton. I'm Mark Sell. Thank you for staying with us here on Our Vision this afternoon. The Scarlet Knights going up against the Illinois Fighting Illini in dual meet action. All 4 rotations have been completed, so right now we are just waiting the final scores to be announced. So right now what they're doing is the PA announcer, Mike Cantor, is announcing the individual winners for each specific event for both teams. And then after that, the total team composite score will be revealed. So, I mean, I think the performance today for Rutgers, I think it was good. And obviously areas to work on. We saw some of the weaknesses and some of the mistakes, at least for today, that were made on uneven bars and a little bit on floor, but they got off to a great start on vault, and they were able to, regain that momentum on beam as well.
Right, but they do have, mistakes on bars and a few things on floor, so they had 2 solid events, and they really, to make it to the next level, you've really got to hit 4 for 4. So again, the season is still young, and so I think, with time, and you get more people changing in the lineup, because that's what you do. In the first couple of meets, you decide, unlike Illinois, who has a very strong, like you said, strong lineup from, their seniors and their juniors. So, and Lou has a younger team, so.
We talked about earlier about Rutgers starting out strong and starting out the meet strong on vaults. Last weekend in Boston, their best score of each rotation came on vault. It was a 48.7. Today, we saw the overall performance of a 48.8 to start the meet for Rutgers.
Right,
so the next step is that middle portion to get you to the grand finale on floor.
Exactly. So, again, they'll just, it's as I've said to the girls, it's the meet, it's done. Now go back into the gym and fix what's wrong. You can't go back. So they'll get back in the gym on Monday and fix whatever was, needs to be fixed in training. And that's the only way you can do it. You can't look and pass on back performances. You have to let it go.
And now the all-around results for individual competitors. In third place, with a score of 39.0, Carlo Team Ledoux. In second place, with a score of 39.100,
So this is the final. This is the final rotation scores announced for the individual competitors. The top 3 finishers with their overall score are announced for both vault, bars, beam, floor, as well as all around. And all around is the overall score for a competitor that competes in multiple events, but mainly 4 events. And your point total for each event gets added up, and that's your overall all-around score. So the winners this afternoon, the Fighting Illini, the 19th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini with an overall score of 195.5 today. Rutgers finishes in second place behind the Illini, 191.6, a difference of 3.9, as you see the final scores right here. So the first Big Ten dual meet at home that Rutgers has competed against in its program's history. Again, Rutgers is in its second year in the Big Ten Conference. So what are your overall impressions, Chris?
I think they're going to be, they're going to do well. It's just going to take some time, like anything else. It's only our second year in it, and they need, they're just going to have to get down to work and bring in some other recruits, which they're going to do, and I think they're going to be good contenders down the road.
And we could see a big difference in this team when we come back here to the rack next month, because hopefully, most likely by then, we'll see Jenna Williams active. We'll also see Claire Jones active as well. And like you said earlier, if Jenna Williams is active, that'll help out Rutgers in the uneven bars category, too.
Exactly, because she's got such perfect form. She's beautiful, and she's always been that way. So, yes, that will definitely work.
Final overall, were you going to say something else?
I said I think they really did well. I know they're going to be somewhat disappointed, but all they need to do now is just go back into the gym and train and correct the mistakes.
So we'll definitely see that from the Scarlet Knights this week. Crystal, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Overall final score from the rack today, Illinois wins the dual meet over Rutgers, 195.5. Rutgers in second place at 191.6, a difference of 3.9. The Illini even out at 1-1 on the season. Rutgers falls to 0-3 this year. And right before we sign off, we're going to send it down to Casey Murphy. She's standing by with the head coach, Lou Levine of Rutgers.
You're good there.
We're here with Rutgers head coach Lou Levine. Coach, tight match today against number 19 Illinois. Can you talk about some highlights from the meet?
I thought that we started off really strong on vault. All of our vaulters did a really good job. And then I thought beam was probably the highlight of the night. Really strong performance over on beam. And so those two events I thought we did a really good job. We kept right up with Illinois. We got to go back and work on, obviously it wasn't a very good bar day today, and we got to do better on floor. So.
And what do you think the improvements will be throughout the week during practice preparing for your next match?
It's got to be consistency. In warm-ups we hit our routines, and we got to be able to get up and do it in the meet, and so be able to handle that pressure and really just come through. We kind of snowballed a little bit today, struggled on bars, but like I said, I thought we came back really well on beam, and we can learn from that.
And what can you say about some of your all-arounders who competed in every single event?
They had some good events and some not so good events today. But Libby and April, they're a really important part of this team, and they'll continue to be a really important part of this team.
And what will be the keys going into the meet against Nebraska?
Hitting routines. It sounds pretty simple, but that's what it's about. We got to get up, we got to hit routines. We got to be able to hit, 6 for 6 on all 4 events, and then we'll see where things go. But really, we just got to get better, keep improving.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach, and good luck next week.
Thank you very much.
The Scarlet Knights will be hitting the road next Saturday, January 23rd, to face Nebraska. Reporting from the Rutgers Athletic Center, I'm Casey Murphy.